As a seasoned outdoorsman, John Harris was no stranger to the woods whatsoever. He had spent countless hours hiking, hunting, and exploring the dense forest of rural Wisconsin. But on this particular autumn evening, he would experience something that would absolutely shake him to the core for the rest of his life. So it was around 8 p.m. when John set out on his solo hiking trip, and the fading sunlight casting long shadows across the forest floor was kind of hypnotic, and he had been walking for about an hour, and the crunch of the leaves and the snapping of the twigs beneath his boots was the only thing that was breaking the silence between him and nature, and it was really peaceful, he said. And as he rounded a bend in the trail, he noticed a peculiar scent wafting through the air. It was a very pungent mix of wet fur and something else, something like acidic and very unsettling, he said. John's instincts told him to slow down immediately and to proceed with caution before moving on. He had heard whispers of strange occurrences in these woods and tales of ghostly apparitions and unexplained encounters, but John was absolutely a skeptic, and he was attributing such things to maybe a small town legend and folklore, really. And as he walked further, the scent grew even stronger, and John caught sight of this figure just out in the distance. And at first, he thought it was maybe like a coyote or like a large dog, but as the creature drew closer, he realized with a jolt of intense fear that it was neither. The creature stood on its hind legs, and its body was a grotesque amalgamation of like a canine and a human feature. Its fur was matted and wet, and eyes that were glowing like embers in the fading night. John's initial fear gave way to a sense of numbness as in his mind, he was struggling to process what he was seeing. Now, the creature, which John would later describe as a dogman, began to move toward him with an unnatural gait, right? Its front paws swung in like a flying motion, and almost like a human movement. It just started moving towards him with such purpose and intent. John's heart was racing and froze and unsure of what to do next, and the dogman's eyes seemed to be fixed on him, and it had this otherworldly intensity about it. And as it drew closer, John felt a creeping sense of dread, as if he was being pulled into some dark and ancient realm. He tried to speak, he tried to call out for help, but his voice was caught in his throat. He literally couldn't get a word out. The dogman stopped about 20 feet away, and its gaze was still fixed on him. For what felt like an eternity, the two of them just simply stared at each other, and the only sound was the distant hooting of owls and other animals that were rustling through the trees. Then, without warning, the dogman turned and vanished into the darkness. John was left standing there, and his heart was pounding in his chest, and his mind was reeling with questions. Had he really seen what he thought, or what was maybe, was it just a product of his imagination? And as he made his way back to civilization, John couldn't shake the feeling that he had encountered something truly supernatural, something that didn't belong in this world for the very first time in his life. And the experience left him with a lingering sense of unease and a feeling that he was being watched even when he was alone after that. And in the days that followed, John found himself experiencing strange and vivid dreams that were filled with images of the dogman and this the dark foreboding woods surrounding him. And he began to feel a sense of disconnection from reality as a result, and an encounter with this creature started to change his daily life, like he was being pulled into this other realm of existence. And John's experiences would remain a secret, known only to a select few, but for those who have ventured into those woods, there are whispers of a presence, a creature that roams the shadows, watching and waiting for you. And now, years later, when John was asked to recount his experience, he would only offer a cryptic statement, really up until now. And this is what he would tell people, is that he saw something that made him question what he thought he knew about this world. And it was a reminder that there are forces beyond our understanding, and forces that lurk just beyond the edge of our perception. And the dogman remains a mystery, kind of a legend and a terror. But for John Harris, it will forever be a reminder of the horrors that lurk in the darkness, and they're waiting to be unleashed. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.